Good evening. Today, I've got a green screen behind me. We've got a lovely tropical setting. That's a joke. We are actually in the tropical setting. We are in Bali. I've traveled to Bali just for this video. Not really. Today, we're doing a tune inspired by D.O.D. Classic UK commercial house. Let's get into it.
Do you feel the rain? Now that it's falling on you. Oh, I'll be your sunlight. Even the darkest cloud, our love will break through. Oh yeah. Here in your arms, I'll be right here waiting. So scared of love, but I want me. I'm staying here. Here in my arms, I'm staying. So scared of love, but I want me. I'm staying.
And there we have it. Lovely, lovely little tune. I actually started this project years and years ago. These chords are from an instrumental that I did, and I really like these chords, so I thought we'd reuse them because they sounded a bit D.O.D. So we're in A minor and 131 beats per minute. We are starting with basic 3-chord pattern pretty much. Going from the F major, which is the 7, going to the A minor, which is the 1, going to the D minor, which is the 4, and at the end of this phrase, we go down to the C major, just as a little turning note. So the way that I've structured these chords, for this first one, we've got the F minor down here. It's just the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th, just with different octaves. So I just played around with all of these different iterations of octaves and just landed on this one. Like, these top notes are effectively the ones that the ear gravitates to most because they're the highest ones. So it's this D, do, D. With this second note, we've got a 3rd in there. So this is the A minor, and then we have a G in there somewhere. So this top one is a G, so that makes it the 7. And then the same with this D, we have a C in there somewhere. Yeah, this top one. So these two notes, we've got the 7th on the very top, and then the rest of these are just the basic triads. And then we just come to this basic C major. When I was thinking of doing this chord progression, we could have gone to the C major with this sort of basic pattern like this. But I feel like holding on this note for a little while and then having this as a bridge note was just a little bit more effective, and it worked with the vocal a little bit more. So we're kicking off this tune with a little vocal chop that I've done. Just taking some little snippets out of this vocal. So that ooh, we've just got that little snippet. Snip that out. And then this second one is slightly different chop. That love. And then this one here is exactly the same chop as this one, but we have pitched it up by 3 semitones from this original. To keep it moving, you know, we could have this as a very static chop. I've done some little bits to keep it moving. So we've got this auto pan in there, and we've automated the filter just a little bit. So we've got a low pass on here, slowly opening that filter up. We've got this auto filter, which is on a comb filter with the LFO rate up and the envelope up, so it gives it a little bit of a wobble. Dry wet is down quite a lot. If we put that all the way up, you know, it's a bit weird and intensely phasey. So taking it down a little bit just gives it that little bit of movement. And then we've got a little endless smile kicking up at the back end of that. So we're always trying to keep it moving, so it's not just this same static sound the whole way through. So these organs are Serum stock preset. This is how long ago I made these chords, is we've still got Serum 1. So this is Geoduck, this is the Serum stock preset, and then I've got 2 organs left and right. They're both a stock preset drawbar organ, same one on the right, but I've slightly changed the detune and the wavetable position, I think. So we put them hard left and right, so it gives it a bit of width. If we were going to do the same thing left and right, it wouldn't feel stereo. So that's the reason on this second one, I've slightly changed some of it, so it gives it a little bit more width. We've got less unison. The detune is a little bit different, so it just helps to widen it a little bit.
Do you feel the rain? Then it is falling on you. Oh, I'll be your sunlight. Even the darkest cloud, our love will break through. Oh yeah. Here in your arms, I'll be right here with.
Just in that bit of the verse, to underline that a little bit further, we've got a little Reese underneath. Very basic saw Reese. So that just helps make it a bit more intense from the intro. So when we come into this verse bit, it feels a little bit more gritty. And the second time round, rather than having this D on this lower octave here, we've taken it up an octave. Helps give it a little bit of movement.
Even the darkest cloud, our love will break through. Oh yeah. Here in your arms, I'll be right here waiting. So scared of love, but I want me. I'm staying.
When we come into this little pre-build bit, got this stutter bass I made in Serum 1. Just a saw wave, our LFO 1 is going to the level and the cutoff. We've got it skipping a little bit. This LFO, rather than being on the grid here, on these beats, we've just pushed the second and the fourth one back a little bit. So that's what helps give it that skip. Just a bit of a gallop. To help that move a little bit, we've done some automation on the pitch bend. We've got our pitch bend at plus 12. So this comes from plus 12 all the way down to its original note. And then in these little fills, we've got going up 12 semitones, so it's going up an octave. So you get that real nice little skip. We've got some basic process on there, a bit of compression, saturation, a bit of a chorus, and as it's in the build, we're only letting in only a little bit of the frequency to start with, and then as we go through, we're slowly opening that up. So we only just let the highs and none of that low end through, because we want to leave the low end for the drop.
Here waiting, so scared of love, but I want me. I'm staying.
And then like very, very basic drum builds. We've got our kicks coming in here. So we've got our kicks here, kick, 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 slowly building, and we're sort of doubling the time as we go into that drop. We're introducing the basic drum pattern. So our hats and our claps, again, filtered from the beginning of that drop. We don't want to let all of those frequencies through, because once we get to the drop, that's when we really let those frequencies in. And we've also got a snare roll as well. The basic snare roll, same thing. We're taking out the high end and then slowly introducing it as we build to that drop. Very nice way of introducing the drums. And a classic thing I always do before a drop is we take out pretty much everything in that last bar before the drop. The only thing I've got in there is the clap. The snare risers, the hats, kicks, all coming out. I've also taken synths out. So we've got utility gain, the whole bar before that drop. So really suck everything out. So when the drop comes in, it's much more impactful. So very, very basic with our drums. We've got a 4 to the floor kick, our clap, we have our hat, and then I've just got a ride and a couple of crashes in that first bit. So for the first half of, so for the first half of that drop, we are keeping the rhythm of the drums really, really straight. So we've not really got any swings. We've got a few little bits of the shuffle, like almost as little fills here, but I want to keep it really straight. And then for the second half, that's when we introduce those shuffles. So the first half is very, very straight. And I'm obsessed with this Lily Allen drum fill. So from her tune Smile, that so I took that and then we separate stems into audio, separate that, just the drums, and it comes out like this. And then we put that in time. So I'm just using that little snippet as a fill, such an iconic little fill. So if we listen just to the drums there, just has a really nice little human element to it. So for the bass, we're keeping it very, very simple, still with the exact same chord progression as the chords in the intro. So we're going from the F to the A to the D, and then we've got this little fill with a C. So at the end here, we're just kicking it up an octave. So rather than keeping it down here like we've got the first time round, giving it a little bit of variation with this going up an octave. And then I've added this extra little note here, just keep it a little bit different. So this first half and the second half aren't exactly the same. And we're also not going down to this C like we've done the first time. So ever so slightly evolving it, so it's not exactly the same. We've done a few little bits of automation just to keep it moving. So our filter cut off, just moving a little bit. You know, it's not doing anything too drastic, just to keep it moving just that little bit. And because the root note, the root frequency, it was quite high. So it's sort of up here. I was thinking maybe we should add a sub that introduces some low frequency down there. So I've taken out everything under 40-ish hertz, and then we've got a sub underneath that. So we're taking all of the high end out that sub. So with our first note, the sub is hitting at 40-ish hertz here. And then our top note here is hitting the octave higher, so 80 hertz. So that's why I wanted to fill it out, because I felt like we could have an extra octave below that just fills out those lower frequencies. Initially I had this A an octave higher, so the second note being an octave higher. I've heard it in a few tunes, like Calvin Harris does it quite a lot, where he takes the second note down an octave, and it sort of works really well for this, and it felt a little bit darker. It meant the frequencies weren't too high on the bass, because I felt like up there it got a little bit too high. So I've taken that down an octave. This little bit in between first half of the drop and the second half of the drop, I've brought in this stutter bass again, so the same one that we used in the build-up. So we're just effectively using that as a little fill. So we're still doing that same pitch bend, the digga 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 digga. But I thought that was just an interesting way of making the transition a little bit more interesting. So we didn't have that bass doing the transition. Switch it out, and we're using this bass as the transition. So in this second half, we are just adding this little bit of shuffle. That in context with the rest of the tops. So without that, very straight, how we had it in the first half. Then we add that shuffle. So that just helps elevate that second half just a little bit more. We're also just bringing those original chords back in. I'm only using that top organ rather than all three of them, because there's already a lot going on in that second half of the drop. So we didn't really need to fill it out too much. And we're also bringing back that original chop that we had in the intro. Also, we notice in that bass, it's got a little bit of a click in it. And that is being done by this kickstart. A way that we can fix that is because the end of this volume shaper is coming down super, super quick. So if we move this fine curve by 2 or 3, we totally get rid of that click. Maybe one more. Much better. So before, got the click, then left a little bit, get rid of that click. So if you ever have a click, that could be one of the reasons. And there we have it. What a banger. D.O.D. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope it's helped. Please do like and subscribe and comment some things. I'm going to do one more video while I'm in Bali. So if anyone has any recommendations for a tune I can do while I'm out here, do let me know. Let's make it a good one. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope it's helped. And love to your mum.